Yo, what is up guys? Delboy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hopefully you guys are doing well. If you're new here, smash that like, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. So Badou Jack knocks out Samuel Crosshead in the second round to mark his cruiserweight debut. Going into this fight, obviously I wasn't expecting anything from Badou Jack's opponents, but I was interested to see how Badou Jack looked at cruiserweight, how he was carrying the weight, etc, etc. And at first glance, it appears that he's carrying that extra weight quite well. He looks a little more fleshy, but not out of shape or anything like that. He looked quite healthy. His hand speed looked the same, his style looked the same. He seemed to be generating some pretty decent power on his punches. So, this initial first fight at cruiserweight, I felt Badou Jack looked pretty good. Again, I know it was only 2 rounds, I know he was in with a limited opponent, but he did what he needed to do in this fight. First round opened up, Badou Jack started relatively slow. In the first 90 seconds, he was kind of stalking Samuel Crosshead, throwing the odd jab here and there. Samuel Crosshead was looking for his overhand right. He actually landed one in the first round, a pretty good overhand right, which Badou Jack just walked through, and towards the second half of round 1, Badou Jack started to close the distance and start to let go of his shots, primarily starting upstairs with his right hand, and then he would finish the combinations by throwing a body shot or two. So he was going through the gears in round 1, gauging what he had in front of him. He soon realised that Samuel Crosshead wasn't anything special, and in the second round, Badou Jack really upped the tempo, cut the ring off a bit quicker, and was throwing even more punches, particularly to the body. In round 2, he was starting more to the body with combinations and finishing upstairs with his right hand, and it was the right hand which did the damage. He dropped Samuel Crosshead once with a right hand that split Crosshead's guard. Crosshead beat the count. Soon after that, Badou Jack dropped him again with another right hand, and at this point in time, it looked like Samuel Crosshead basically wanted out of there, and he was there for the taking. Moments later, Badou Jack landed a flurry of punches. I believe a left hook got through, which dropped Samuel Crosshead again, and the referee jumped in to wave it off. So a routine victory for Badou Jack. I think we all expected that. But, going into this fight, I was just interested to see how Badou looked at cruiserweight physically. And yeah, to me, he didn't really look out of shape. In fact, he looked bigger than I thought he would, actually. The guy here was fighting, Samuel Crosshead, not a big cruiserweight, but, he's been campaigning at cruiserweight his whole career. But Badou Jack actually looked a bit bigger, to my eye at least. So, Badou Jack was carrying the weight okay. He done a job on his opponents, and we'll see where he goes from here. Badou Jack being 38 years old, he can't exactly spend a couple of years trying to bed in to the cruiserweight division. He needs to essentially step up right away. I think, ideally he needs to be back in the ring quite soon, and he needs to fight one of those sort of fringe contenders at cruiserweight. Maybe somebody like Noel Gevor would be a good opponent for Badou Jack next. I think that would make a lot of sense. Noel Gevor, of course, is a former world title challenger, kind of on the periphery of world level. I think Badou Jack needs to fight a guy like that next, and if he were to win that sort of fight, at that point, then try and challenge for a cruiserweight title. Would I pick Badou Jack to beat any cruiserweight champion? I certainly wouldn't pick him to beat Maris Briedis or Lawrence Okole, but maybe he could beat a Makabu, maybe he could beat an Arslan Goulamarian, somebody like that. So we'll see where Badou Jack goes. I like Badou Jack. I'll always follow his career. I think he's been very good for the sport, given some really good fights, fought some top competition. So we'll see where he goes, but I wish him the best. And share your thoughts below. Peace.